Hey y'all, it is August the 5th, 2019 currently. And y'all, we're doing a follow up to a story because here's the thing about the news, they don't end. The news isn't the end of the story, believe it or not. The stories keep carrying on and people keep coming up with new details and things in regards to stuff we talked about before. So we're doing a follow up which we previously talked about this student from Cambridge, which I believe, like I said, is an Ivy League school. You know, it's one of those top-notch education places. And okay, she jumped from an airplane. We discussed it. There was hypotheticals. We were just imagining what if we were in that situation, what that must have been like in that small airplane. You know, there's two people, I guess, who were there to try to stop her, and they couldn't stop her. It's a very interesting situation. You know, people with curious minds can't help but wonder what exactly in the world went on during that situation. If that is indeed an accurate description of what did happen on that airplane over Madagascar. All right. So I found an article, and I think it's even more newer. It's August the 3rd. Found an article. I thought it was pretty dang interesting. So we're just going to do a read along. All right. So, y'all ready? Cambridge student who leapt to her death would have employed incredible strength to open the aircraft door. I don't know if this is true, but it sounds pretty legitimate. This is done by Patrick Sawyer. All right. And so it causes us to think about even more factors like how hard would it be to open the door, for one? All right. So let's dive into it. The Cambridge student who leapt to her death over Madagascar would have had to employ superhuman strength and determination to push open the aircraft's door. Aviation experts have said that for the 19-year-old to force the door open against the force of the air pressure outside of the Cessna's cabin would have required a sort of strength exhibited by someone undergoing a severe psychotic episode. That reinforces fear that Miss Cutland, who is reported to have been extremely anxious in the days before her death, may have suffered an adverse reaction to anti-malaria pills. All right, the anti-malaria pills she thought to have been taking. All right, but then again, we mentioned before that that's probably not the only types of pills she was taking. More than likely. One air safety expert told The Telegraph it is an extraordinarily difficult to push a door open during a flight when a plane is going at 120 knots. You have to have had a lot of strength and be really determined to do that. Firstly, she would have had to take off her seatbelt, push forward the seat in front of her that opened the door, and force it open mid-air, all while fighting her fellow passengers who was trying to hold her back. That takes incredible strength and determination. It's not even funny, but it's unbelievable. In jumping to her death at 3,500 feet, Miss Cutland fought off desperate attempts by a friend, Ruth Johnson, 51, and the pilot to hold her back. Like, that's literally all the people who were on the plane. Miss Johnson, a teacher from Banbury, Oxfordshire, had been asked by Miss Cutland's parents to accompany her on the first leg of her flight home from East African Island, where the student had been undertaking research of ocean crabs after she began exhibiting increasingly disturbing behavior. Wow. The air safety expert who runs an aviation training and consultancy firm said it was a tragedy that someone had not spotted that Miss Cutland from Milton Keynes was potentially in a state of distress before boarding the aircraft. It's an absolute shame she was allowed to get on that flight at all and that nobody noticed whether something was clearly wrong with her, he said. Staff at a conservation project where she was working as a volunteer have described how Miss Cutland's mental health appeared to dramatically decline within days of her arrival at Madagascar remote Anjajavi Nature Reserve. Now, it's going to be a little bit more, but I would just want to go ahead and put out the theory, because I'm a conspiracy theorist, that yeah, she took some malaria medicine, anti-malaria medicine. That did not mix too well with her antidepressants that she was absolutely on, and there's no question about that. So they had a mixing going on inside her body. It took a drastic turn with her behavior, and somehow they thought, well, it's a good idea we throw her on a plane and get her out of here. Basically, something's going wrong here. And so that would turn out to be a disaster. At one point, she became so disoriented and confused that she feared being jailed by the authorities in Madagascar if she failed to complete her project on the local population of crabs. And I hope that that's not the truth, but she might have been tripping. I don't know. In a witness statement, Cedric Martin, the general manager of the Anchajavi Lodge Hotel, which runs the conservation project Miss Cutland was working on, described how she was excited and normal when she arrived on July the 16th. But within days, her parents, Neil and Allison Cutland, began to grow increasingly concerned following a series of fraught telephone conversations with their daughter. On July 20th, Miss Cutland, a second-year student, asked for an interview to express her concern that she was having trouble finalizing her research. There was trouble there. Mr. Martin said, "We immediately assured her that she was on an internship and that the important thing was that she learn on the ground." But within days, her health seemed to deteriorate again, and she requested a new meeting with managers. Mr. Martin said she began to show more signs of paranoia by telling me that she was afraid to end up in prison in Madagascar if she did not finish her research. After that, she told me, "It sounds silly when I say it out loud." He added that knowing the adverse effects of some anti-malarial drugs, he had advised her to stop her treatment, and a doctor prescribed sleeping pills so that she could sleep. Dog, y'all, she was tripping off her balls, I'm here to tell you. They had her in Madagascar, whether they know it or not, tripping off her balls, straight up and down. And that's why she expressed superhuman strength, like super soldier strength. Pushed open the door, like she is really, really tripping balls. And you might want to familiarize yourself with that sort of combination of drugs that she was taking is very bad for her. Following her death, anti-malaria doxycycline and Lariam pills were found in her luggage. Yeah, I bet you Lariam was previously linked to psychotic episodes and cases of suicide. Oh, believe it or not, y'all. Accident investigators in Madagascar have revealed that Miss Cutland's father told staff at a hotel that she had no previous history of anxiety, panic attacks, or mental health issues. It's just that these pills will kind of make that happen in your brain. You understand? If you're in Madagascar and stuff, alright, you might jump off the plane. Superhuman strength, dude. I don't know if this is legitimately what happened, but it sounds realistic and it sounds wild. Sounds pretty wild, y'all. We're gonna stay tuned and see if there's any more developments. Holler at me if y'all hear about some other stuff that's wild and stuff that we need to discover and dive into on this channel. And I appreciate y'all. It's August the 5th, 2019.